Hi, welcome to Satoshi Radio. I'm Bart Mol and today I will tell you all about the current BitAxe lineup. I've been running these miners for the last couple of months and in this video we will talk all about the specs, the differences between them, how to set them up, and the big question, will you make money? Let's take a look at what we're working with. All three miners in front of me use the same BM1370 chip, pulled straight from the Antminer S21. So the efficiency of all miners is broadly similar at 15 joules per gigahash. The main difference is simply scale. The bigger the miner, the more chips. And more chips mean more hash rate, but also more power draw, more heat and more noise. The BitAxe Gamma Turbo is the smallest and cheapest entry point. It runs off a simple DC adapter. It has two BM1370 chips, which amount to 2.2 terahash at 40 watt power draw. Yeah, what I like about this version from Power Mining is that the display is soldered onto the mainboard. This sounds like a trivial thing, but I have multiple BitAxes where the screen drops out, literally drops out, because it's not soldered onto the board. I also like the big heatsink and the possibility to mount a second fan on the back. For most people, this BitAxe, this is the one to get. Then we have the NerdQAxe++, and this one steps it up with 4 chips, 4 times the BM1370 and this nice bigger LCD screen. 4 chips means a hash rate of around 4.8 terahash. Power draw also doubles compared to the BitAxe Gamma Turbo, 80 watts instead of around 40. The LCD screen on the NerdQAxe shows more detail than the tiny screen on the BitAxe. Hash rate, temperature, pool info, all at a glance and in color. Power Mining includes a metal stand with this one. I really like it. This is a nice step up from the 3D printed stands you get with most BitAxes. This one, the NerdQAxe++, is the premium desk miner. And then lastly, we have this big boy, the NerdOctAxe. 8 chips, but also a bigger power supply, triple fans and a bigger metal stand. 9.6 terahash hash rate for this big boy and 180 watt power draw. It also includes the bigger screen that's known on the NerdQAxe that we saw on the NerdQAxe++, and the stand is made out of metal and has a cutout on the back for airflow. Aesthetics wise, this is the coolest looking of the three in my opinion. This is for nerds like me, but yeah, I mean, come on, it just looks dope. The price difference is significant. You're looking at roughly 200 to 250 euros for the Gamma Turbo, 515 euros for the NerdQAxe++, the one right here, and 845 euros for the NerdOctAxe. So the question is the extra hash rate worth the bump in price? The answer is probably not. Let me explain. All miners, all machines in front of me here are real miners. Any one of these could mine you an actual Bitcoin block and earn you the full block reward. The block reward currently at 3.125 Bitcoin, worth over $210,000 at the time of recording. And it actually happened. In 2025, I think BitAxes found around 7 or 8 blocks. But the chances that you will be the lucky one to mine a block are very, very slim. Let me be exact. Say you run your BitAxe Gamma Turbo, the small one, for a full year, day and night, 24/7. According to solochance.org, you expect to find a block every 9,448 years. In other words, if 9,448 people were all running their Gamma Turbo for 1 year straight, 24/7, statistically one of them would hit a block. With the NerdQAxe++, your odds improve to once every 4,349 years. And with the NerdOctAxe, once every 2,000 174 years. They halve every time because, yeah, the hash rate doubles, of course. So yes, with the more expensive miners, your chances of finding a block go up. But they're still astronomically small. I will break down the full economics later in this video. Solo mining, pool mining, electricity cost, all of it. Spoiler, you will mine at a loss. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy one of these machines. Because there's a simple reason to buy one. These things are cool as hell. I mean, look at them. This is cypherpunk to the max. Mining is the lifeblood of Bitcoin. But from my experience, it's hard to understand from theory alone. You can read about it, but that doesn't do the same as actually feeling it. Like before the BitAxe existed, real miners were expensive, loud, and impractical. There was no way to tinker with them at home just for fun. And now you can. I mean, I got one of these old miners here. I will get it. I mean, guys, here, check this out. This is one of these old miners. Look how massive it is. I mean, the wife doesn't approve. The wife approval factor is 0. Like, if you have one of these, you won't put it in your living room. It makes a lot of noise. It's not open source. It's heavy. I mean, it's cool, but not really something you want to tinker with. But with one of these, with a BitAxe or a NerdOctAxe, you will actually understand how mining works. You can start experimenting. Turning it on when your solar panels have excess energy, or dialing it back in the summer when it gets too hot. Comparing mining in a pool versus solo mining. The BitAxe movement, it's the best gateway drug into the world of mining. And honestly, it's a great conversation starter as well when someone walks into your office and sees a tiny Bitcoin miner humming on your desk. I've got all 3 of these miners from Power Mining. I'm really happy with the build quality, to be honest. The NerdQAxe and the NerdOctAxe, I have them for a couple of months and they've been running, perfectly without any problems. Also the build quality of the miner itself, but also of the metal stands. Also here with the BitAxe Gamma Turbo. Yeah, the build quality is top notch. I visited them last year and I've seen with my own eyes that they take great pride in delivering the best quality possible. So if you want to buy one, I would recommend Power Mining. Alright, on to the setup. And setting up any of these miners is pretty simple. The process is the same for all 3. What you do, you plug it in, then the miner turns on automatically. The miner creates its own Wi-Fi network, basically like a router. You will see the network name and the password of the network, if it has a password, on the screen of the miner itself. Then you connect to that network using your laptop or your phone. And after that, a settings page pops up automatically. From there, you enter your home Wi-Fi name and the password, of course. Then hit save and then restart the miner. From this point on, the miner will be connected to your network and thus connected to the internet so it can start mining. To access your miner after that, just type in the IP address that is shown on the screen of the miner and type that into your browser. You can do that on your phone or on your laptop as long as you're connected to the same network as the miner. And that brings you to the full dashboard. You will see hash rate, temperature, graphs, power draw, logs, firmware updates, all the settings you need to basically adjust your miner to your likings. Your miner is running. Now you need to decide, where do you actually point it? How are we going to mine? This is where you choose between solo mining and pool mining. And within solo mining and pool mining, you also have something like solo pool mining. I will explain all 3 options. If you run an Umbrel node at home, you can install an app called Bassin. Bassin turns your node into your own private mining pool. 0 fees, 0 trust. If you mine a block, the reward is fully yours. I've had one of my BitAxes running on Bassin without any problems for I think the last 2 months or something. Setup is really simple. First, you install Bassin from the Umbrel App Store. Make sure your Bitcoin node is fully synced, of course, you need that. And point your miner Stratum URL to your local Bassin address with the correct port. That's it. Bassin gives all the info you need on the screen. Then you enter the Bitcoin address where you want to collect the reward if you find a block. You do this in the settings of your miner. Make sure to back up this wallet thoroughly for obvious reasons. We don't want to be in the situations where we find a block and can't access the wallet. After the address, add a dot and then the name of your worker, of your miner. What I normally do is use the name of the miner itself. So I use Bitcoin address dot BitAxe Gamma Turbo, or Bitcoin address and then dot NerdQAxe++. After you set it up, your miner will now talk directly to your own node, and if you find a block, the full reward goes straight to your wallet. No middleman, no pool fee, no one skimming off the top. This is the most sovereign way to mine Bitcoin. But if you don't run your own node, then Parasite Pool is a great alternative. It's an external pool, but it works differently from a traditional mining pool. I think the most interesting difference between Parasite Pool and a normal old school mining pool is if your miner is the one that actually finds a block, you get 1 Bitcoin bonus on top of the regular payout. So they mix regular payouts with the solo mining component, with the lottery mining component. The remaining rewards get split among all miners in the pool based on their contributed shares. That's old school pool mining. So with this setup you still have that lottery ticket for a big win, plus you earn small steady payouts from the pool's combined hash rate. Payouts happen over Lightning or on-chain. I think Parasite Pool is one of the coolest things that happened in Bitcoin mining recently. But we, as Satoshi Radio, we also run a mining pool, and you can find that at pool.satoshiradio.nl. These are not traditional mining pools. Bassin, Parasite Pool and Satoshi Radio Pool are all solo reward structures, more or less. You're still playing the lottery for the full block reward. The pool just handles the infrastructure. A traditional pool like Brains works differently. Your hash rate gets pooled together with thousands of other miners and the rewards get split proportionally. You will earn small steady payouts, but no chance at a big win. Just consistent sats trickling in. Personally, I use everything except traditional mining pools. I have a BitAxe running on Bassin like I showed you, and other miners are connected to Satoshi Radio Pool and the Parasite Pool. Remember, we are here to learn, so just try things out. You can switch pools whenever you want. So maybe you are wondering, what's the reason that I don't use traditional pools? And the answer is simple. I will always mine at a loss with these small miners because of my electricity price. It's just too high. And if I'm going to mine at a loss anyway, then yeah, go big or go home. Then I'd rather have the small chance to win it big. So we've talked about the differences between the miners and the pools. We've set up the miners. We're good, right? Good to go. We are. But there is one more thing I want to discuss with you. And that's the performance of your miner. This is a bit of an advanced topic, but bear with me, it's pretty fun. A miner is like a car. You could drive it with the factory settings and be completely fine most of the time. But you could also open the hood and tweak it a little bit. Maybe you want some extra horsepower, or maybe you want it to be quieter and more efficient. The same goes for Bitcoin miners. The output of a miner is the number of hashes per second. That's your horsepower. To control that output, there are 2 settings that matter: voltage and frequency. Voltage is the amount of electrical pressure you feed to the chip. Think of it as the size of the fuel line to your engine. Frequency is how fast the chip cycles through calculations. It's like the RPM of your engine. So to get more output, you need to increase the frequency. But at some point, the chip needs more energy, more fuel to keep up. That's when you increase the voltage. Alright, sounds great, right? Let's crank both to the max. Okay, ho ho. Not so fast there, cowboy. There's an important byproduct of pushing your miner harder, and that's heat. And with heat, most of the times comes cooling and thus noise. More frequency and more voltage means more heat. And at some point the chip gets too hot and shuts itself off to protect itself. So there's always a trade-off. More hash rate means more power draw and more heat and therefore more fan noise. So Bart, do you overclock your miners? Yeah, I do, sometimes for fun to see how far I can crank them up before them melting down. But after that I do the opposite. I underclock them. Let me tell you why. When you lower the frequency and drop the voltage, your miner runs cooler, quieter, and uses less power. Sure, I lose some output, I lose some raw horsepower in the form of hash rate, but honestly, I don't really care about that. Whether you hash at 2 terahash or 10, your odds of hitting a block are astronomically small either way. So I'd rather optimize for efficiency and comfort instead of raw speed. Let me show you. I underclock my NerdOctAxe to a frequency of 500 and a core voltage of 1100. The result? 8 terahash, down from 9.5 that I had before, the stock value. ASIC temperatures sit at a cool 55 degrees. And the noise? Whisper quiet. I mean, because the ASIC temperatures are so low, the fans don't really have to spin up that hard. So there's a 17% drop in hash rate, but the miner runs significantly cooler and you can barely hear it. And therefore will also last longer. Back to the question, which of these three miners should you get? And to answer that question we have to look at the full economics. I promised you earlier I would break this down. Here it is, let's go. If you mine in a pool, you get a small, steady payout based on the work your miner contributes. To estimate what that looks like, I'm using the hash price. I'm using the current hash price. That's what miners earn per terahash per day, and it's in dollars. Right now, that's about 2.8 cents per terahash. And it's declining basically, but that's a story for a different video. So in a week, the Gamma Turbo earns you around 43 cents. The NerdQAxe++, just under $1, and the NerdOctAxe around $2. Over a full year, that adds up to about $22 for the Gamma Turbo, $49 for the NerdQAxe++, and $98 just shy of $100 for the NerdOctAxe. But we also have to look at the cost, right? So this depends on your electricity price. Let's use the US average of 17 cents per kilowatt hour. This results in yearly cost of about $60 for the Gamma Turbo, $119 for the NerdQAxe++, and $268 for the NerdOctAxe. Average prices in Europe are higher, at around 35 cents per kilowatt hour. This results in yearly cost of about $123 for the Gamma Turbo, $245 for the NerdQAxe++, and $552 for the NerdOctAxe. Yeah, so what does this mean? Yeah, very simple, that you will mine at a loss. With the BitAxe, the Gamma Turbo, you will lose $37 in the US and $100 in Europe. With the NerdQAxe++, you will lose $70 in the US and $196 in Europe per year. And with the NerdOctAxe, this becomes even bigger. $170 in the US and $454 in Europe. So at what electricity price will these machines turn profitable? The break-even point is around 6 to 7 cents per kilowatt hour. So let's do the calculations. Let's say you have access to electricity 24/7 for the whole year at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. In that case, the Gamma Turbo would actually turn a small profit, about $5 per year. The NerdQAxe++ does a bit better at around $14 per year, and the NerdOctAxe about $19 profit per year. Smart viewers notice that we didn't take the price of these miners into consideration yet. And that's completely valid, we need to do that because that's also a cost. The math is easy. It takes around 40 years, 40, to earn back the cost of any of these miners with the calculations that we used before. Needless to say, that is way too long to make it economically feasible, especially since the halving has a big effect on hash price. There are two observations here. The first is that this is exactly why you should buy one of these miners. Because within a couple of minutes you understand why the mining business is so difficult. You will understand why big Bitcoin miners are pivoting to AI. You learn more when you get your hands dirty. The second observation, this is the reason I don't use a traditional mining pool like I said before. If I'm going to mine at a loss anyway, let's go full Leroy Jenkins and try to mine that block and reap the full reward for myself. I'd rather have a bit more loss and a chance to win big than losing money forever. So if solo mining is the way to go, then we need to update the table. Since we don't have recurring revenue anymore, our costs become our final outcome. To reiterate, about $60 or 123 in Europe for the BitAxe, $119 or 245 for the NerdQAxe++, and $268 or 552 for the NerdOctAxe. Let's end this video by answering the two most important questions. First question, should you get one of these miners? In my opinion, 100% yes. If you're interested in Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin itself, this is the way to learn how it works. Then the second question, which one should you get? To decide that, you need to answer a very simple, different question, basically. How much do you want to spend on this hobby? Because that's what it is. The experience you get is, in my opinion, the same with all three miners. Right? It's the same chip, it's just more chips in the bigger ones. The chance that you actually mine a block ranges from super small to super small. In other words, you will probably never mine a block, so you won't make money with these miners, but you still have to pay every month, right? So what matters are those monthly electricity costs and of course the purchase price of the miner. How much are you willing to spend on the machine itself, and how much are you willing to spend to keep it running every month? For most people, it will probably be the BitAxe Gamma Turbo. This one. It's small, it runs for less than $10 a month and has the same BM1370 chip as the rest. It has two of them. This one has 4, this one has 8, but it's the same ASIC chip. It gives you the full mining experience for a fraction of the price of the others. So when do you buy one of the others? When do you buy the NerdQAxe++ or the NerdOctAxe? Yeah, probably if you are a nerd like me, right? I'm a sucker for these things. I mean, sure, like this BitAxe looks really cool. Really cool. But these other two really have that old school vibe going on, right? The cypherpunk vibe. It just, yeah, they just look badass. But like I said, if I'm being honest, you're just spending more money for the same experience. If you decide to buy one of these miners, then check out Power Mining. They genuinely care about solo mining and the open source community, and the quality of their products reflects that. Fast shipping, proper packaging, and they stand behind what they sell. I put the link down here in the screen, but I also put it in the description. That's it for now, guys. I'm just left with one thing. Just try it out. Buy one of these BitAxes and you won't regret it. For me, it's one of the most fun things that happened in the last couple of years with Bitcoin. I really learned the intricate details of mining, understood how hash price works, understood the balance between hash rate, electricity, and the price that you pay for one of these machines. It's really fun. So try it out. Let me know what you think. If you have questions, put them down in the comments, and that's it for this time. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Ciao. See ya.